I froze in the kitchen doorway, my keys still dangling from my hand, as I heard Sarah's laugh, that light, flirtatious trill she hadn't used with me in months, echoing from our bedroom. "Oh, stop it. You're terrible," she cooed into her phone, her voice muffled but unmistakable. My stomach twisted like a wet rag being wrung out. Who the hell was making her sound like that? I stepped back quietly, heart pounding, pretending I hadn't come home early from work. That was the moment suspicion cracked open the door I've been trying to keep shut. We've been married for 8 years, Sarah and me. High school sweethearts turned suburban survivors, with a cozy house in the suburbs, a golden retriever named Max, and the kind of routine that felt safe until it started feeling like a cage. Lately, she'd been distant. Late nights at the office, sudden gym obsessions, and those secretive smiles at her phone screen. I chalked it up to stress from her promotion at the marketing firm. "You're overthinking, Mark," I'd tell myself in the mirror, staring at my tired eyes and the gray creeping into my beard. But denial is a fragile shield, and that laugh shattered it. That evening, over dinner, I tried to act normal. Sarah pushed her pasta around her plate, her auburn hair catching the light from the chandelier. "How was your day?" I asked, forcing a smile. She glanced up, her green eyes flickering with something I couldn't place. Guilt? Annoyance? "Fine. Busy." "You?" Her response was clipped, like she was reciting lines from a script. We ate in silence after that, the clink of forks amplifying the growing chasm between us. I remembered our wedding vows, whispered under a canopy of stars. Through thick and thin, no secrets. What a joke that felt like now. The next clue came innocently enough. I was folding laundry in the basement when I found a receipt crumpled in her jeans pocket. Dinner for two at La Bella Vita, our anniversary spot, dated last Thursday. I'd been out of town for a conference that night. My hand shook as I smoothed it out. $150 on wine and steak? Who was she with? I shoved it back, telling myself it was a client dinner. But suspicion gnawed at me like a rat in the walls. That night, as she slept, I checked her phone, something I'd never done before. The passcode was our wedding date. She hadn't changed it. Messages from Alex. Work popped up. "Can't wait for our next meeting," winking faced. My chest tightened, breath coming in shallow gasps. Alex? Her boss? No, it couldn't be. Denial clung to me like sweat on a hot day. Maybe it was harmless flirting. Sarah had always been charismatic, the life of every party. I loved that about her once. But anger simmered beneath the surface, bubbling up in quiet moments. At work the next day, I couldn't focus on my engineering blueprints. Lines blurred as I imagined her with him. "Get a grip," I muttered to myself in the break room. A colleague, Tom, noticed. "Trouble at home?" he asked. I shrugged it off, but his words lingered. That evening, I confronted her subtly. "Hey, found this receipt in your pocket. La Bella Vita, fancy client." She paused mid-sip of wine, her face paling for a split second before recovering. "Yeah, just networking. Boring stuff." Her laugh was forced, too high-pitched. I nodded, but inside, trust was crumbling like old plaster. The suspense built over the weekend. She said she had a girls' night planned, but I followed her. God, I hated myself for it. Parked 2 blocks away, I watched her slip into a sleek black car outside a coffee shop. Not her friend Lisa's minivan. The driver was a man, tall, with that polished look of someone who spent too much on hair products. They drove off, and I tailed them to a motel on the edge of town. My hands gripped the wheel, so hard my knuckles whitened. Heartbreak hit like a freight train. Why him? What did he have that I didn't? I sat there for hours, denial giving way to raw anger. Tears stung my eyes as memories flooded in. Our first kiss under the bleachers, the way she'd clung to me during her mom's cancer scare. How could she throw it all away? I didn't burst in. Instead, I went home, Max greeting me with wagging tail and wet nose. "At least you're loyal, bud," I whispered, burying my face in his fur. The house felt empty, echoes of our laughter mocking me from the walls. That night, I lay awake, piecing it together. The late texts, the new lingerie I'd found hidden in her drawer, the way she'd avoided my touch. It all clicked, a puzzle of betrayal snapping into place. But anger morphed into something colder, resolve. I remembered what I told her just 2 weeks ago during a rare, honest conversation about our drifting marriage. If you ever cheat, Sarah, remember, I handle the finances. Everything's in my name. The house, the cars, even your precious credit cards. She'd laughed it off then, calling me paranoid. She forgot. The revelation came Monday. I hired a PI, discreet, efficient. Photos arrived via email. Sarah and Alex, arms linked, kissing in a park. My world tilted. Heartbreak clawed at my throat. I punched the desk, knuckles splitting. How could you? I whispered to the empty office. But suspicion had hardened into certainty. That evening, she came home late again, smelling of his cologne, musky cheap. I waited in the living room, lights dim, the photos printed and fanned out on the coffee table like a hand of cards. Sit down, I said, voice steady despite the storm inside. She froze, eyes widening. Mark, what's this? Natural dialogue flowed, laced with tension. You tell me. Alex from work? How long? Denial flashed across her face. It's not what you think. Bullshit. I cut in, anger erupting. The receipts, the messages, the motel. You thought you could humiliate me like this? Play me for a fool. She crumpled into the chair, tears streaming. I'm sorry. It just happened. You're always working. And he listens. Her motivations spilled out. Loneliness, excitement, the thrill of the forbidden. Believable, human, but unforgivable. I felt trapped, she sobbed. Complex as she was, her pain didn't erase mine. The collapse of trust was total. You forgot what I told you, I said coldly, pulling out the divorce papers I'd drawn up that afternoon. Everything's in my name. The house, mine. Your car, leased under my credit. Even that fancy wardrobe, bought with our joint account, which I've frozen. Her face drained of color. She thought she could humiliate me easily, slip away with half of everything. But I protected us, from this exact nightmare. Mark, please, she begged, voice breaking. We can fix this. But heartbreak had forged steel in me. No, we're done. I walked her out, Max whining at the door. As her taillights faded, closure washed over me. Not peace, but a bitter release. Anger lingered, but so did reflection. Love isn't blind. It's just hopeful. And sometimes, hope betrays you. In the quiet house, I poured a drink, toasting the end. She'd forgotten my warning, but I'd never forget her betrayal. Life goes on, scarred but wiser.